Welcome to our tutorial on using remote providers with ThreadFix. Remote providers connections are used to connect ThreadFix to your scanning tools. In this video, we'll discuss how remote providers can be used to automate and ease the ingestion of vulnerability data into ThreadFix. You can access the remote provider page from the integration section on the ThreadFix dashboard. From this screen, you can see a list of all of the existing remote provider connections that you've already established. To create a new remote provider connection, click the Create New Provider option at the top of the screen. Using the drop-down menu, you can then select a scanner type from the list of available scanner integrations. Let's start by setting up a connection to the contrast scanner. Next, we'll give it a name. We'll go ahead and call this one Contrast Dev. Then we assign a username, an API key, and a service key. Finally, we'll assign an endpoint that we're connecting to. For today, we'll go ahead and use an endpoint we have set up for evaluation and integration development. We'll also leave the force/scan option unchecked. When setting up a remote provider, it is best to only check this option if you have a very specific use case in mind and fully understand the implications. After we create our remote provider, it now shows up on the Remote Providers page. By expanding our contrast connection, we can see all of the existing projects that our contrast instance has access to with the credentials provided. These are the projects that Contrast itself is scanning and validating the vulnerability data for. Using the Edit Mapping option, we can then associate a project to one of our existing ThreadFix teams and applications. Now that we have this association set up, we can import the last scan data from Contrast by clicking this Import option. Alternatively, we can choose to schedule a new import based on a regular schedule. From the Scheduled Imports tab, we can set up a new scan import schedule using a daily or weekly frequency. You can also use a cron expression to set very specific details for how and when you want to import a new scan. In this case, we'll set up an import schedule on a daily basis set to run at 2 a.m. You can choose to have this schedule pull the latest scan results from any or all providers, from any or all the applications you have connections for, or both. Let's set this to use the contrast provider we just created. Now that we have chosen a particular provider, the Add Application field gives you the option to choose from the applications you have associated with it, or you can leave it blank to import scans for all the applications you have associated. This can be useful for automatically scheduling scan imports on the same schedule as you associate more applications. Once you've set up an import schedule, you can see the schedule shows up on your Scheduled Imports page. You can also automate remote providers using the ThreadFix API by calling the API to request an import at any time based on external automation. For example, you can create a continuous integration workflow in Jenkins to automatically pull the latest scan data into ThreadFix every time a scan has been completed. Hopefully, this introduction to setting up and using remote provider connections gives you new ideas on how to get more value from your ThreadFix deployment. Check out our other videos to learn how to use more of the advanced functionality of the platform. And as always, feel free to reach out to customer service with any questions.